Joseph Murphy dedicated decades to teaching that material wealth is not happenstance, but defined by the prevailing vibratory pattern that a person establishes in their mental field. When Murphy analyzed families that faced prolonged monetary difficulties, he detected a surprising and alarming pattern. These families kept, without being aware of it, an energetic pattern of scarcity that continued generation after generation, like a skipping track playing continuously the same melody of lack. Murphy identified this pattern as vibrational heritage. He recognized that each family group possesses a specific emotional frequency regarding finances, an energy that passes on through attitudes, implicit values and reactions of the heart regarding financial obstacles. This transmitted frequency acts like a veiled instruction, deciding not solely what amount an individual can acquire, but equally their fundamental relationship with wealth. Murphy assimilated that many of the financial blocks that he noticed did not come from deficiency or bad fortune, but just in the inherited vibration that each person assimilated from birth. This understanding radically transformed the way that Murphy faced economic metamorphosis. In place of guiding simply ways to conquer wealth or resource allocation approaches, Murphy concentrated on a more fundamental principle, changing the vibrational frequency relating to money that someone assimilated from their family. Murphy reported impressive situations of individuals who were capable of breaking this transmitted frequency through specific techniques of psychological remodeling. One of these examples focused on a merchant named Roberto, whose lineage traversed a repetitive cycle of bankruptcy that lasted through generations. His male ancestor had experienced the loss of everything in a ruinous venture. His progenitor had faced failed ventures, and Roberto, even if laboring in an obsessive way, saw himself recreating this same destructive cycle. Each time he achieved gathering an expressive sum of wealth, an occurrence occurred inexplicably, and the person saw everything disappear. It gave the impression that an invisible force was an unknown force blocking his deliberate efforts. Murphy dedicated himself to training Roberto for several months, showing him a fundamental pillar that would constitute the base in his entire thought. The hidden mind does not discriminate between money you deserve and capital your family believes is appropriate. If within you inhabits the energy that money brings risk, that prospering is risky, that financial tranquility is deceptive or a hoax, thus your unconscious mind will work tirelessly to conserve you in this pattern because it appears to be the genuine reality. The deep mind does not doubt. It merely executes the programs that were installed in your psyche through family living. Roberto ultimately understood that he was not lazy or inadequate. He was conditioned, and programmings can be deconditioned. Murphy expounded that when you alter the vibration that prevails in your core, you modify the command that you emit to your hidden psyche. It is like reconfiguring a system that was functioning with outdated software which is dysfunctional. If the software is configured capacitated to receive only a specific amount of wealth, then that will be precisely what you will earn, without depending on how much energy you dedicate. Murphy proved this concept utilizing contemplative visualization systems that he had established for many years. He oriented his disciples to devote about 5 to 10 minutes each morning, by preference as soon as waking up, when the mind is still in a receptive alpha state, imagining not solely the entry of patrimony in their living, but essentially the internal living of confidence, deep certainty and worthiness that is associated with this flow. Murphy proclaimed without any doubt that this living represented the authentic key. It was not the fortune by itself that had importance for the metamorphosis. It represented the resonance that the person formed in connection with money. With Roberto, Murphy initiated a process that he termed ancestral vibrational transmutation, a method that he had developed through numerous cases of success. Roberto had to, for 60 days, reserve a quarter of an hour each night at bedtime in a state of deep meditation. In this meditative state, Roberto should perceive consciously the entire financial legacy of his ancestors. He should bring to mind his close ancestor facing the economic collapse, his parent struggling with bankrupt businesses, and all those ancestors who came in his lineage taking like patterns. Then on the mental plane, Roberto should express with genuine feeling, "I admit your path. I honor with reverence the challenges you faced. I recognize the importance of the path you walked and the adversities you experienced. But now, in this sacred space, I abandon this resonance of scarcity from my core. I institute a new vibration for our lineage. From this moment on, in my existence, flow, abundance, and economic security are the master frequencies that governs my paths and my life. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy formulated a law that he referred to as Law of Vibrational Correspondence, a law that he had confirmed in multiple cases. This truth sustains that the external reality always mirrors exactly to the dominant internal world. If in your psyche prevails with genuine dread of lack of resources, then the external world will reveal incessantly situations that reinforce this fear and validate your limiting belief. If in your interior you resonate genuine security in your inherent prosperity, then the exterior reality will reveal openings that strengthen and cultivate this tranquility. The most revolutionary aspect of this principle is that it acts apart from your present condition or your past history. An individual totally indebted who changes their dominant vibration to abundance will give start, in a matter of weeks, to notice small changes that are perceptible. These alterations tend to be subtle in the first moment, but are indicators of a real transformation. An unexpected expense is bypassed because you opt to avoid making a purchase on impulse. An opening arises because you were in better psychological climate to talk with a significant person. Your physical totality begins to vibrate in a diverse vibration. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To trigger this change of vibration that was stable and radical, Murphy instituted a path structured in 3 stages that he judged totally necessary for real transformation. The first phase is what Murphy called conscious ancestral recognition, and he emphasized that it was ineffective to advance without fulfilling authentically this first step. In this pass, you must spend time genuinely identifying the complete financial trajectory of your family group. This does not mean accusing your forebears or rejecting them with negative emotion. It equates to just understanding with absolute clarity what they endured, the emotional lesions that they faced, the schemes that they developed as a survival mechanism in periods of difficulty. Murphy perceived that various beings sought to pretend this uncomfortable trajectory, tried to act as if it was not there, and this obstructed irremediably the real transformation. It continues being absolutely impossible to liberate oneself from what you reject consciously to see. Murphy instructed his clients to initiate this simple method, which is transformative. At dusk, by preference when preparing to sleep when the mind is more permeable, sit in silence, in complete silence. Do breaths deeply repeatedly, and mentally reflect deeply on your family. Evoke mentally the forms of your predecessors. recognize the adversities that they lived, communicate on the mental plane with honesty something like, "I accept that you, my male ancestor, endured deep losses that generated deep fear in your mind. I welcome that you, the one who begot me, established preservation tools that were passed successively from generation to generation." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet, and becomes something you see with absolute clarity, and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words, but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy instructed that this proclamation operates because it establishes a new dominion in your essence. You do not find yourself rejecting your family or your history. You are merely realizing your inalienable right as a conscious creature who is free to choose a new resonance. Murphy had recorded numerous cases evidenced where this declaration, when done with true emotional sincerity, generated an energetic rupture so powerful and radical that observable transformations began in a few days. He had noted situations where beings reported vibrant dreams and exceptional dreams in the moments subsequent to the affirmation. Oniric experiences where their ancestors showed themselves to validate this change with silent approval and energetic approval. Although Murphy presented himself as a methodical researcher who was thorough in his general way of proceeding, he recognized that there prevailed phenomena that surpassed strictly material reason and Cartesian logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he maintained this sensitive manifestation and experienced, Murphy instructed with conviction, "Say mentally with absolute conviction, my supreme vibrational state now becomes conscious abundance. My bodily structure pulses totally with economic confidence. My subconscious mind finds itself totally reformatted, capacitated to receive generously, to conquer integrally, and to preserve continuously prosperity." My energy finds itself aligned impeccably with opening, infinite movement, and endless development. The lack that was inherited extinguished itself entirely permanently. The abundance that represents my innate spiritual right firms itself in this moment as the eternal truth of my existence. Murphy reiterated categorically that these sentences must be enunciated not automatically out of habit or in a shallow way, but with true deep feeling, with authenticity that surges from the core, as if you were affirming the most vital affirmation and primordial of your complete life. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage, the rational mind began to doubt and question, how can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy oriented that this third stage be realized each day without failures for a term of 40 days successive. He had determined the duration of 40 days, given that he had identified in numerous cases that it was exactly the necessary duration for a new frequency to install itself definitively as the predominant vibration in the deep nucleus of the unconscious. The first 14 days concern rooting and implantation of the transformed energy. The new frequency still feels fragile and temporary. It still competes aggressively with the old patterns that seek to remain. In the period of 15 to 28 days, something deeply modifies and unties itself. The new frequency starts little by little to reach true power, to feel more organic and genuine, more essential to your deep essence. Between days 29 and 40, the new frequency at last consolidates itself as the preponderant frequency that guides your behaviors. After 40 days of consistent practice and sincere effort, Murphy observed that those who sought him shared an emotional change so significant that it was apparent even to uninvolved people. The dread that immobilizes in relation to money faded substantially until vanishing completely. The remorse of evolving economically and accepting disappeared completely. A certainty which was quiet, transforming and unbreakable in the economic destiny began to emerge spontaneously from within. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy accentuated a crucial aspect that countless despised absolutely in their fulfillment. In this period of 40 days of rigorous fulfillment, the tangible behaviors also keep fundamental weight. The frequency institutes the adequate soil. Nevertheless, you continue needing to have the bravery to take action. If a chance surges on your life path, you require to develop the courage in exploring it honestly. If a thought appears concerning how to multiply your revenue or to multiply your inputs, you require to find yourself prepared in putting it into practice with firmness. Murphy called this aligned action, and it was completely essential. It is the movement that surges fluidly when your vibration has changed to fullness. This attitude reveals itself radically distinct from the desperate action grounded in dread. It is conduct that is firm, lucid, spontaneous, and accurate. Murphy recognized that once his patients preserved the correct energy and behaved constantly in alignment with this vibration, the opportunities surged in manners that prior appeared completely impractical or almost miraculous. The trajectory that Murphy provided was basically a way of authentic liberation and transforming. It was not dodging from real challenges. It was confronting the factual truth that you were structured by ancestral transmitted frequency and opting consciously and with conviction to change this vibrational pattern totally. It characterized itself as recognizing that you shelter supreme capacity not only to transform your own living, but to transform the entire trajectory and hereafter of all your family heritage. This knowledge forms genuine power in its deepest sense, not that force uniquely to win or to win against adversaries, yet the true power to metamorphose frequency, to surpass old limitations. This knowledge, Murphy revealed with absolute certainty, signifies the real liberation which is economic and sacred that all beings seeks.